Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another great episode of TinyConstraints auto layout made easy in Swift 5. Now in today's episode I am going to start working on a sample project and show you how easy it is to work with TinyConstraints. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, if you are new to this channel or this video, go ahead and take a look at the previous episodes, and it's a whole playlist on TinyConstraints. You can find the link down below for that, and you can learn how to use TinyConstraints and how you can make your auto layout life much easier. Now today we are going to start building out my Instagram profile page, and none of the functionality will work. We are just going to lay out some views, and I have created here, and there we go. Let me just move this to the left so you can see, and this is what we are going to build out: a navigation bar and all of these views. Well, these could be buttons, but we are not going to use buttons, or maybe we will see that, but none of the functionality will work. I'm just going to present you how easy it is to lay out these views with the help of TinyConstraints. And yep, this is what we are going to build out. And you can see all of this if you just click the link down below for the resources and just download this and build Instagram profile resources folder, and you will have all of the needed resources for this tutorial. And I believe this will be quite a long, maybe 1 hour, so I will just chunk it over a few videos. Okay, now let us just start building. So we are going to start by creating a brand new Xcode project. So there we go, and I will use our single view application. And if you don't know what this means, go ahead again, click the link down below. You will have that on how to make your own custom Xcode template. But basically this removes the main.storyboard. So let's click on next here, and I will just call this TinyInsta. Okay, and I will embed it in a navigation controller, and the root view controller will be the name of the class. So let's click on next there, and let's go here and let's create a new folder called code. Create it, and I will create a Git repository on my Mac because I will upload this to our Git hub profile, so you may take a look at it later on. Okay, so yeah, that is that. Let's close this because we want to import, of course, TinyConstraints. So I'm just going to close this and open up terminal, and there we go, and just type in cd and a space, and drag and drop your root folder of your project, hit return there, type in pod install, there we go, and that will create a pod file for us. Rather at not pod install, sorry, pod init. Okay, we are going to install with pod install, but for now we are just creating our pod file. There we go. Let's drag and drop this to our Xcode icon and delete that commented out section and set this to iOS 12. And let's add in here pod TinyConstraints. And let's just close this and go back to pod install. And again, this is version 4.0.0. Minor changes might occur in the future, but just keep in mind that this is our current version that we are having this example with. Okay, and finally, let's open up our workspace. There we go. Let's resize this and start working on it. Well, first of all, let's just add our resources. Here we go. Let's go back to our resources, and I will just copy and paste all of this. Okay, and just drag and drop it there, and there we go. We have our places here. Oh, rather yet, let's just remove this. Doesn't make sense to add that in there. And yeah, that's that. Okay. Now, let's just talk about how we are going to build this out. So let's go to our root view controller, and instead of UIKit, let's import TinyConstraints. You could add a new import too if you wanted to, but yeah, that is what we are going to do now. So first of all, we are going to set up our views. So set up views. So let's create this function. So there we go. A file private func setup views, and inside there we are going to add views, and we are going to constrain views. There we go. So let's create both of these. So file private func, there we go. And for the constrain views, again, file private func. Let's just copy this out and paste it in there. Awesome. Now we will need a navigation bar setup. So set up navigation is what we want to have here. Navigation. And again, this will be a file private func. Okay, and basically that is it. We want to have some marks here, so mark, and that is maybe some properties, maybe not, but we will see. And let me just copy this out so we can make this a little bit faster. We will have here some views, and this is our life cycle. Okay, and this is our setup navigation. And setup views. And now you can easily navigate all of these. Okay, so that is for a preliminary setup. Now let us just talk about how we are going to build all of this out. So let's go to our sketch file here, and yeah, let's just start working. First of all, let's add this title here. So for that is pretty simple. We are going to set up our navigation. First of all, let's do our add views, or rather yet, let's add in here view dot background color equals dot white. Okay, because the default background color of our view controller is black. So let's just select our iPhone XR simulator and build and run and see how all of this basically works. We should have a navigation bar, and yeah, it's just complaining, but it will find it soon enough. Okay, and there we go. That is basically it, a navigation bar. So let's add under setup navigation a title. So title, and that should be Rebeloper. Okay, and let's build and run again. Again, I'm not going to add in here this arrow, because this is basically a button, but yeah, it's not the purpose of this tutorial. Okay, and let's see now what we got. So there we go, Rebeloper. Pretty awesome. Now it's time to add these two navigation bar button items. So let's create them. So the first one, and I will add these under views, and I will have this as a lazy variable, so lazy var, and time bar button item. And this will be a UI bar button item, and it will be with an image, and yeah, we will choose this one. Okay, and the image, and let me just remove that, hit Command Shift M to bring up our media, and I will choose, let me just see, our navigation bar bottom item time. Okay, and let's just move that there, and with a rendering mode, and yeah, we could have here dot always original or always template. It doesn't really matter. I will use template because that is what we, or rather yet, let's just use original because I already have all of this set up as black. Okay, so bar button style, I believe plain would be okay, and target is self, and action hash selector, and we will have an Objective-C method, and I like to have this time bar bottom item tabbed. So that is how I name my functions. So let's copy this out and let's just scroll all the way down, and here let's have a mark, and let's see, handlers. Okay, let's create our Objective-C. So add Objective-C file private function here. There we go. And that is how we will handle. And let's print out here like time bar button tapped. Okay, let's see, what do we have here? Oh yeah, we need to initialize this. Like so, time bar button tab, and now it's time to add this bar button to our navigation. So navigation, there we go, self dot navigation item, and set a left bar bottom item. I will add in here our time bar bottom item animated false. Okay, let's hit Command R and see if this really worked. And we do have, oh yeah, we need to have this, yeah, and we just simply have this. Let's just double tap here and select our image. Maybe that was the issue. Let's build and run again. Yeah, with this image selection is really hard to do. Yeah, that was the issue. If you encounter that these images don't really show up, then go ahead and take care of that. So let's add our hamburger menu bar button item next. Just simply copy and paste some code here. So a menu bar button. Let's select another one here. It's this one, always original. Menu bar bottom item tabbed for the selector, and let's just scroll all the way down. And let me just copy this out and paste that in there and type in menu, and change the print statement to. And finally, let's add this to our right bar button navigation item. There we go, set right bar button, and the one that we want to add is our menu bar bottom item, and that should be okay. So let's build and run and see how this looks. Okay, let's just tap on it. As you can see here, we have our menu bar bottom item tab, and let's just tap on the time bar button item tabbed. Okay, and yeah, we haven't really covered TinyConstraints just now, but yeah, that's the way how you can do that. So let's do TinyConstraints just now, and we are going to have our plan. So let me just remove this, And just a little bit of talk here about how we are going to add this. So we are going to use stacks, and this will be our first element in the stack. And the next one, let me just remove this. The next one will be a line, or rather yet, let's just use this line as a divider, and we will have this as the background image, a colored one, and this will be another stack element. And again, let's just remove this, and this one another, and here under, oh, sorry about that, the video creator, another one, and this bio, another one, and the IGTV, another one, and the same goes for the email and this navigation. Like these are, I believe they are setting the layout of our posts. And finally, we are going to have this as a post, so we are going to go all the way down. We are not going to cover the tab bar items again. So yeah, that is how we are going to make all of this. So first of all, let's have a real container view here that spans all the way from top to bottom, left to right in our view, and that will have a grayish background. So let's name this a container view. So let's go all the way up here, and yeah, we will do this with a lazy variable and container view. That is the whole container view, and it will be a simple UI view. And let's see here, let view equals UI view, and view dot background color equals dot, let's say light gray, that should do it. And let's return our view, and let's initialize it. Okay, now that is for our view. What we need to do next is add it to our views hierarchy. So view dot add subview, and this is our container view. And now we need to constrain it, and that is pretty straightforward. Constrain container view edges to super view. Yeah, and that is basically it. So we want to edge this to super view. And let's build and run and see if we do get that grayish background. There we go. Pretty awesome, isn't it? And with just a few lines of code. So what is up next? Let's see here. So I want to create, let's add in some views, and the first one, well, container views, is this, let's see, stats view. Well, if you are not on a business profile, you won't see this, but I will see this because I have changed to, so I will have this as a business, or rather stats, business stats container view. Let's just do that, and let's see here. What do we have here? I will just copy, and I will have a lot of copy and pasting because I want to save on time here. So this will be our, and I will have this as a red. Okay, and let's do another one, and that will be our, let's say, a profile. So we will have this as our profile container view, or rather yet, let's have this one as our profile stats. That will be awesome. Profile stats container view. Okay, so again, let's copy this out and paste it in there, and profile stats container view, and I will have this as a green background. And that is it for this start. So let's add these. So view add subview and business stats container view, view.add subview profile stats container view. Now we want to have this as a stack, so what we are going to do here is on the container view, so container view, and we are going to use this stack, and we are going to add our business stats container view. Oh, again, this will need to be an array, so let's add those parentheses there, and our profile stats container view, and the axis will be a vertical one, and we are not going to use a width or height here because we are going to add that in just a moment, and the spacing will be just, for now let's add in here 10 so we can see, but we will change that later on. So what else do we need to add in here? Well, we want to have our heights added correctly. So before we stack these views, we want to have our business container view height to be, let's see, here we go, our height, let's say 100, or rather that, let's just have here 50. I believe that should be enough. And our profile stats container view height should be, let's see, 150 maybe. Hands up if you just hit Command R and build and run and test it out if all of this works for you. So yeah, we have our green, so our business stats container view. What was the, yeah, it was the profile container view, and I believe we should fix this by having a container view height too. So it is edging to super view, but we really need to have a height for that. And let's just fix this real quick by adding a UI view here. So let's see if that fixed that. Yeah, and we are going to have a lot of building and running here. So yeah, we do have our profile stats container view. What's wrong here? So let's start changing some stuff. So we want to edge to super view, but we want to have a height. So I'm just going to use excluding bottom and no insets, but using safe area. Okay, let's use this to true, and let's have a container view height, and I will have this as 1000. It doesn't really matter because here we have our UI view. So let's build and run and see how this works. It should get our business stats view there. Yeah, that is correct. And as you can see, we have our spacing set to 10. And I will just remove this to be 1. And let's compare this to the original one now. And yeah, we can't really see this, but if we set these to white, let me just go back and set this to white and white again. We should be able to see that grayish line that we need there. There we go. Yeah, pretty awesome. Let's take a look at what we have here. Let's remove this so we can see a little bit better. And yeah, that is basically it. We have our line there. Maybe we should make it a little thinner too. And we will do that by having 0.5 as the spacing. And let's see if we do have our alignment here. Yeah, that is basically it. It looks really nice. Okay, and yeah, I believe that this should be all the way down till our email. So yeah, we need to add that. So that will be like something like, let's say 400. Okay, and the profile stats from now on means all of this. Okay, that is the profile stats. Great. So now let's build and run one last time and see how this works, and we will continue in the next video. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video of setting up and having some views added there. And if you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And as usual, I will continue this episode in the next video, and I will see you in the next one.